So I'm Tessa with Mama's Geeky. Thank you both so much for taking the time. I loved this movie. I literally was on the edge of my seat from like the moment it started till the very end. I've got to know the inspiration behind this and where this thought came from.
Um, it was interesting. It just came from this single image of a woman running through the woods in hospital scrubs, being, pursued by an unspeakable evil that I realized was probably coming from my love of horror and some of those tropes. Laurie Strode from Halloween, the ending of films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the idea of the final girl. And so when I first saw this image and thought maybe a script could come of this, and I didn't know why or how, because it seemed so conventional. But slowly, as the film came to me in the order you see it, and I realized it was a movie about expectations and subverting those expectations and stereotypes and the judgments we place on people without knowing the full story. And we start in the third act and see these people behaving a certain way, but why are they behaving that way? Let's go and find out. And so as I discovered why they were behaving in certain ways, it started to really interest me to put it on paper. And when I did, thank God, people like Vani and the producers, Roy Lee and Steven Schneider and Miramax, liked it and decided to make it.
I mean, the way it just unravels is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so good. But Giovanni, for you, what was it that made you want to be a part of this?
Well, he sent me the script. I think it was 2 years ago now, and I read it, and it was like nothing I had ever seen. And within 15 minutes, I called them, essentially begging to be a part of it, and then those conversations evolved, and we landed on it. I convinced him that to let me shoot it. And then and so yeah, I think that just that it was just undeniable.
Yeah, can we talk about the cast? Like, I feel like a movie like this has to have the perfect cast to really work, and it's so good, and they're so good. So, you can talk about bringing them on.
You're so right. The two leads especially are the pillars of the film, and without them rising to the occasion, so to speak, the movie would not work. It doesn't matter how good the writing is, the cinematography, anything else in the movie. Without those two actors doing the right thing, it just doesn't work. And
Yeah.
there were other plans and other goals in the beginning, and it always when a movie works, it's usually because things end up the way they're supposed to. And I'm so grateful this is what we ended up with, because they're just incredible.
Yeah, I think we went around the world, really. I mean, we were looking at so many people, and I think that really it was about the commitment that they had, because a movie like this, especially with this kind of budget, is really kind of a miracle when it gets made. But to have people that were so supportive and showing up to work every day with that kind of commitment, it was, it's just incredible.
And then after we cast Willa and Kyle, we had to cast the Mountain People, and that was,
Yeah.
I've been wanting to work with Barbara Hershey since before I wanted to make movies. It was like, if I ever made movies, I would want to work with her.
Yeah.
She's really one of my favorite actors of all time. I think she's one of the great living actresses, and she was a straight offer. We had never met, and thank God she agreed to take a meeting, and I was able to convince her to do this film, although she wasn't really interested at the time in doing a genre film. I explained to her that the approach was very humanistic, and that there was going to be a lot to this movie, and she agreed to do the film. And then I remember I had a little bit of a relationship with Ed Begley Jr., not super close, but I did have his phone number, and I took a chance and I sent him a text and I said, "Do you have 2 weeks free in August to play Barbara Hershey's biker husband?" And he responded
Yes.
immediately and said, "Let me read it." And he read it, and like the next day he said yes. And it probably had more to do with Barbara Hershey at the time than it did with me, but now he's very, very happy he was a part of it. And they were all of them were such pleasures to work with. And then we cast Denise Grayson in the movie, and Bianca Santos and Madison Beatty, who I've worked with before, who's just incredible.
Yeah.
And also Stephen Michael Cazada, who I've worked with before and who's fantastic. And then my dad, Duke Mollner, was in the movie.
Duke Mollner.
And he had a big gun and a cowboy hat on at one point. And I think all these roles, even the small roles, are memorable. Even at Eugenia Kuzmina and Andrew Siegel were in the movie. So we had a total of like 8 human beings, I think, in this movie. But they all made an impact. You know, even the smaller, quicker roles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this movie is brilliant. Like I said, I was on the edge of my seat trying to put it all together, and then every time there's a reveal, I'm like, what is happening in this movie? But I loved it. I absolutely loved the journey, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. So
thank you so much.
And I wanted to mention too, you know, Jason Patrick does the opening crawl, the dialogue in the opening crawl, which is you know, kind of a throwback to who was the guy from Night Court who did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre voice?
Oh, I'm forgetting the name of the guy, but yeah.
Anyway, we know what you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much, and congratulations. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Of course, I'm loving the whole collection behind you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a problem. I'm a big collector. So I gotta ask you, and I know it's probably so hard to talk about without spoilers, but what was it that made you want to be involved with the music for Strange Darling?
The script. You know, he sent me the script. I was the second or third person to read it. He sent me the script, and I couldn't call him back fast enough. You know, I read it the second he sent it to me, and I read the script, and I just said, like, you don't understand. Boy, am I your girl.
What was your like reaction reading it, without spoilers, of course, but what did you think?
I mean, my reaction was, I think and particularly reading it, because it is incredibly realized as a script, and it's not like we shot it and then we jumbled it up and, you know, all of that. I think it's like a very modernist work. Like it's a script that is as much about the plot as it is about storytelling and the telling of a story. And it's about how making you examine your reaction to, you know, the things this movie makes you feel. And that, you know, it's as much about you, the viewer, as it is about us, the creators. And that's my catnip. Like, I live for it.
Mm-hmm. What things did you pull inspiration from?
We had an initial conversation where he was like, the dream is kind of Leonard Cohen meets Julie Cruz. And I was just like, you know, I am a diehard Twin Peaks fan and a diehard Leonard Cohen fan. So it was very, you know, I was like, my music already kind of sounds like that. Like, I really understand the world we're kind of trying to build here. And I think also a lot of the inspiration came from just getting in the minds of the characters and having empathy for the characters. And that's sort of how JT talked about how the actors approach their characters too, of that they approach them with so much love. And, you know, that is sort of, I think, part of the sort of unease that this creates, is that everyone who's creating it is approaching it like with such love and compassion. And that makes you sort of examine how it makes you feel.
Yeah, it's interesting to try to empathize with some of these people. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But we did it, by George.
Yes. Well, I mean, I loved this movie. I was like literally just on the edge of my seat the entire time. Is there some part that you're most proud of? Some piece that you're most proud of?
Oh man. Yeah, without saying anything, the end is my favorite moment in the whole film. It's, you know, it's, if I could have made that just as a music video, it would be the greatest moment of my life, let alone it being, you know, the end of this movie that I love so much. But it really, I mean, it's such a wild and unique opportunity for an artist like me to have, you know, it's not like these songs are just in the background of scene. There are so many needle drops, and for a movie that looks this beautiful and that is this extraordinary, to hear my music be this much of a part of it it's insane.
I mean, it elevates every scene. It really does. It's like a character all itself. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, and we really sort of tried to let the music exist as a character in the movie, and to have the score really sort of be the music of the demon and my music really be the music of the lady. And, you know, I think the balance between those two and how different they sound also creates its own sort of intense tension.
Amazing. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time and congratulations. I love this movie. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Thank you so much. And yeah, the album, the soundtrack comes out August 23rd, the same day as the movie. So
perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
I've got to say, I loved this movie right from the moment it started all the way through the end. I was literally on the edge of my seat. So I've got to know what it was for you that made you want to be a part of it.
The script, it's an amazing script. And the moment that I finished reading it, I called my agent back right away and I was like, I have to do this movie. How can I get this movie? And then luckily I did, which is not usually how that conversation is going. Usually you don't get the thing that you really want to do. But I don't know, there was something kind of undeniable about the script. And there was just a real pull that I felt after reading it.
Yeah. So JT was saying it was actually even written the way it's filmed, where you're like out of order.
Yeah. Yeah. The script on the page is the movie that you see. I mean, it's a testament to JT that he had such a clear, distinct vision for what he wanted to make, and he made it. And that is not how it always goes. And I think that I could kind of tell reading it that he had that kind of distinctive a perspective.
Yeah. So when you filmed it, did you film out of order as well, or did you kind of film in order?
No, yeah, all out of order. It's always
oh my gosh, how can you get in that mindset? That's gonna mess with you.
Well, I think that, you know, thinking back on it, I think that there were some things that we shot, like if we were in like one location, I think we usually tried to kind of shoot that location in order as much as we could, but we also shot this 2 years ago, so like those details are a little fuzzy in my brain. But so I think that if we were like at a location, I think we did our best to be able to shoot that location in order, which is always nice. But yeah, the story, you know, the storyboard was very much shot as locations were available.
Oh my gosh, I mean, this movie is so good. You and Kyle are fantastic together. Can you talk about working with him?
Yeah, I love Kyle. I mean, it was obviously there's a lot going on with those two characters and a lot that happens between them. And I think we just got lucky. I mean, we both like each other. We both liked working together. We both kind of like had a rapport from the beginning and like genuinely enjoyed each other's company. And, you know, we were shooting together basically all day, every day. And it's really fun when you like the person you're working with and you get to just then like, you know, blow off steam in between, you know, crazy scenes or whatever, and have a kind of partner in crime in that way.
Yeah. What would you say to people? It's so hard without spoilers, but like, how would you get them to watch this movie? Because it's so good.
I mean, I think that it is fundamentally a story about two people who meet up, who go on a date, who then go on the ride of their lives. And I think that like that is the movie. And I mean, I think that I think that the trailer, honestly, I am in awe of whoever cut that trailer. I don't know them and don't know who they are, but like, I do think that the trailers that have been released are kind of perfect trailers because there's something that the trailers capture that is the essential nature of watching the film. And it doesn't give anything away. And so I feel like if you haven't seen the trailer, you can watch the trailer. But like I think there is something about that sort of kinetic energy that is such a part of the film, such a part of those two characters that the trailer really gets.
Yeah, no, I agree. I watched the one trailer that had come out and then I sat and watched the movie and I was like, I did not know what I was in store for.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
It is. It's great. And then without spoilers, of course, but like, what was your reaction to reading the end of the script when you were reading it?
Oh, I mean, I've said this before and maybe it sounds bad, but I'm going to keep saying it. I literally felt sick. Like I remember finishing the script and like, I just like kind of like my stomach just felt bad. And I was like, and I think for me, it was this mix of like really wanting to do this job and also being very scared of doing this job. And both of those things being true at the same time and like not knowing what to do about it, you know, because like it's a huge journey. It's a huge script. It's a crazy script. And it's a big lift for me and Kyle. And I think I was like scared of not being able to do it and also really wanting to do it. And so I think it was like, and I think as actors, you know, you're kind of going in the right direction if you're a little bit afraid, which is kind of maybe fucked up, but true. I don't know if I can swear. But yeah, so that I think was like my sign to like really get to do it.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're incredible. I loved this movie so much. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Yeah.